Never thought I'd see the day when zombie ponies would become canon. Let's see how this scenario plays out in 28 pranks later. Rainbow Dash has been going around Ponyville playing a lot of pranks, and despite objections from her friends about her habits, her tricks just keep getting more extensive. When it starts to get too out of hand, the other ponies decide to come up with a scheme to teach her a lesson. 28 Pranks Later comes from new writer FM DeMarco, whose previous credits include episodes of Littlest Pet Shop and DreamWorks Dragons. His debut episode for MLP is another one that was quickly met with a polarizing reception. And while I will say that I did enjoy this one, I do have to say that I also had some issues with it. Though I don't know if many of them are the same as everyone else's. The episode's cold opening features one of the biggest no-nos you could possibly do. Rainbow Dash scaring Fluttershy to tears in the forest. Now you can be quick to state that Rainbow was being inconsiderate of Fluttershy's feelings and ignorant of Pinky's words regarding the matter in Griffin the Brush-Off. But you could also make a counter-argument that Fluttershy has faced and overcome bigger fears in the past, and has known Rainbow for so long that she should know when she's just making a joke, so therefore she shouldn't be so badly affected by it. Either way, it still doesn't make for a good start. Fortunately, the episode does pick up and make some improvements, but takes some drastic missteps along the way as well. In regards to the subject of Dash's excessive pranking, many have said that it's a huge regression of character development, coupled with a recycled premise and lesson. I see what they're saying and understand the disappointment, as this episode does draw several parallels with the Mysterious Ne'er-Do-Well, one of the most despised episodes in the show's history. But I don't quite agree with it myself. In that episode, Rainbow had to learn about when fame lets her arrogance go too far. In this one, she's learning about when joking goes too far. Even if some elements of that earlier moral are reused here, I honestly don't think it's that bad. Everyone makes mistakes that they learn lessons from, but that doesn't mean that they never make that same mistake again. Sometimes they do slip up and need to be reminded of what they learned before. I certainly wouldn't want this to get extremely repetitive, but for an occasional moment, I think it's okay. And I also really like the fact that while Rainbow Dash has matured over the years, she still has a silly side to her that enjoys playing jokes. These little character traits make her a lot more interesting and realistic than someone who becomes too grown up to never be fun again, or too smart to never mess up again. So this isn't the major problem for me. What is a big problem for me, however, is that nothing about this episode is consistent. Some of Dash's pranks are relatively harmless, and it's these particular ones that are quite amusing. I especially love Celestia being buried in a swimming pool of letters, and the sewing machine cakes she leaves for Rarity, as well as Sweetie Belle's thought process in this scene that if it's food, and it's there, then it must be eaten. But other jokes like dropping a giant boulder in Big Mac's cart and putting a brick in Mr. Cake's sandwich just feel nasty, as well as dangerous. Applejack and Rarity claim that Rainbow is being lazy with her jokes by targeting Fluttershy and putting a whoopee cushion on Twilight's throne, and yet they get mad when a joke with genuine effort is played on them. As Dash mentioned in a message left for her unsuspecting victim, they did ask for it. Practically. Then there's how the episode starts off mostly light-hearted for its first half before becoming considerably darker in its second. It's all really uneven. Oh, and did this episode really forget that Starlight exists? To the rest of the main six's credit, they do try to talk some sense into Rainbow Dash before she goes off planning more tricks, and it's only after it doesn't get through to her that they decide to act. This was one of the chief criticisms of the Mysterious Ne'er-Do-Well, so it's good to see that flaw corrected for this episode. Afterwards, when Rainbow switches the CMC's Philly Guide cookies with ones designed to leave rainbow-coloured markings on all the ponies' lips, the second and third acts are when the comeback joke comes into play, as every pony convinces her that her plan has backfired severely, and caused her to start a zombie apocalypse all across Ponyville. And you thought Impractical Jokers took pranking to the extreme.
Mrs. Cake! You! Have you seen Pinky? I was thinking I might have something to do with her not feeling great. Mrs. Cake? I can see you're busy. I'll go back.
Although the tonal shift is a little jarring and older viewers might be able to see the joke from a mile off, the Zompony stuff is still executed really effectively. Obviously there's only so far you can go before things become too intense, but for a family series, there are some very atmospheric moments of genuine terror here, especially with the animation and lighting taking on a brilliantly murkier appearance, and an ominous musical score enhancing many sequences. This results in an episode that could easily pass for a very enjoyable experience as a Halloween special. Despite all its problems, 28 Pranks Later is a lot of fun, as well as a visually and technically well realised entry in the season, and it should be commended for how it sees the show take a chance with some considerably darker elements. For a first time effort, FM DeMarco's episode is incredibly inconsistent, but it still manages to offer an entertaining time that is better than many are saying. I'm going to give this one a Silver Star score of 7 out of 10.